Thank you. Oh, hello.
Hey, Ruth.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good. We're going to talk a little bit about some of the amazing things. Your song, Lost Boy, a top 40 hit, the first song you ever wrote, if I have that right.
Yeah.
And I want to get to that, and I want to hear a little more about that. But first, I want to know a little more about you. You grew up in Alberta?
Yes, in Edmonton, Alberta.
And what's that like?
Lovely. I mean, grew up family of 4, super cool, simple, relaxed upbringing. It's home. I love it.
And family of 4?
Yes.
Your mom and dad, what do they do?
My dad is a realtor,
Okay.
and my mom is a day home provider. So she has kids at our house, and she takes care of them.
And when did you start playing the piano?
I started playing at around age 8. My parents put me in piano lessons. I took that for about 5 years, and then I just started playing by ear.
And how important, was there a piano at home? How important was piano and music to you growing up?
Yeah, it became really important to me. It was kind of the first place where I was able to be creative and kind of start to make things up for myself. And my parents bought me a little keyboard as soon as I started taking lessons, so that was great.
What kind of stuff? I mean, I on Vine, which is part of your story, you do snatches of a lot of other people's songs, older songs, current songs, a wide variety of things. What kind of stuff was most interesting to you? What kind of records did you gravitate towards? Whose music?
Yeah, when I got into high school, that's kind of when I really started finding my own taste in music, and that's when I discovered Lauryn Hill, the Fugees, Beatles, and then Ed Sheeran came around. I really love a good storyteller, and I love when a song paints a picture in my head and I can visualize it. So, yeah, I love a good story.
So, you love a good story. Let's get into the good story about how your song came about. One line at a time, is that right?
Yeah.
Fill me in.
Yeah, so...
That's an unusual way to write and share
I agree.
An ongoing composition.
Definitely. I was actually watching a TV show called Once Upon a Time, and it was all about fairy tales. And so after I'd finished watching a season which was all about Peter Pan, I was downstairs playing on my keyboard, and I was kind of just playing with different chords and singing different fairy tale.
And you were binge watching this show, right? You
I
gulped down a whole season.
The whole season. I should have been studying, but you know what I mean. Yes.
So it was really in your head. Like when you binge watch, it really gets in your head.
Definitely, yeah. So I was all fairy tales, and actually that night I was singing a bunch of different fairy tale lines. Like there was some Snow White, some Rumpelstiltskin, but the one that kind of kept ringing through my head was "I'm a lost boy from Neverland, usually hanging out with Peter Pan." And I didn't even think much of it, but it was super catchy, and I kept singing it, so I decided to post it to Vine. And then in about a week, it had a really big reaction, about 85,000 likes, which never happened at the time. Thanks.
And it's not like you sat down and finished the whole song. You got that line up, and you were...
It wasn't even a song.
That's 6 seconds, I'm
good. It was a thought. But I think what caught my attention more was the comments. More than numbers, it was what they were saying about it, and a lot of people were just saying, "We love this, we want to hear more. I get this line." Like people just instantly kind of understood the line, and that's really what pushed me to write the song.
Now, a couple of things here. You loved making up stories, but you weren't writing songs. This is the first one.
Yeah.
So were you when you loved stories and making up stories? Were you working on short stories? What was your work like?
Well, first of all, I love to read books, so that was my favorite pastime. But I loved writing, short stories, a lot of fantasy. I loved writing poetry, and so everyone always knew me to love writing and love music, but I had just never put the two together until Lost Boy. Okay,
so you've got the one line.
Yeah.
You've got 84,000 people asking you what's next. So how did it develop? Did you sit down and finish the song, or did you really go one line at a time?
Yeah, for about a week, every day I would go to school, come home, and then post the next line to the chorus. But I had no idea that I was building a chorus. I just knew that I liked the whole Peter Pan thing that was going on. And so every day I would add a new line. The next day it was, and when we're bored, we play in the woods, always on the run from Captain Hook. And eventually I had a chorus, and at that point it was getting out of control. Every tweet, every email that I got was, I want more Lost Boy. So I decided instead of just posting 6 seconds that I would write a full song and take it to YouTube.
At some point, this song took on more than just being a fairy tale
Yes.
Captain Hook song, right?
Yes, definitely.
At what point in the process did that happen, and what did it come to represent?
Yeah, that was definitely when I sat down to write the full thing. I think up until then, when I was posting those lines, it was just about pixie dust and fairies and fun and Captain Hook. But when I sat down, I figured if people are going to listen to this, I want them to listen to something with meaning and with depth. And so I just wanted to keep it really honest and real. So I related it to real life. I think everybody's been lonely at some point and in need of a friend. I've definitely been there. So I just wrote it from a really honest place. And when I wrote it, it wasn't even like I was trying to write a song. I was just like, how would I want to feel if I went to Neverland? What would I want Peter Pan to say to me? Who would I be running from? And so I kept it honest.
You put a whole song up on YouTube,
Yeah.
and it just kept happening, and relatively quickly, right?
Mm-hmm.
You were getting people asking you, I mean, I assume, for more music, and some of those people worked at labels, right?
Yeah.
So then what?
So then what? I just remember coming home from school, and every day there'd be a new email from a different record label or management or
It's
something.
that
like
easy, kids. It's just that easy.
Yeah.
You go to school, you write one line at a time, and then a record company calls.
Yeah, life. Yeah, but I just remember being shocked because honestly at the time I didn't even really know what a record deal or label was. I just knew that I should want one. So I was happy that it was happening. I just didn't know what it was. And so
Yeah, it's kind of the way I felt about driving when I was 6. Yeah.
Nice. I think we all feel that way about driving at 6. But yeah, so I had the support of my parents and my dad especially. He went everywhere with me and looked at every email and every contract. And in the end, it turned out really great. I signed with Columbia.
But did you feel a lot of, like, you'd written one song.
Yeah.
Did you feel a lot of pressure to sit down and write more? Were people asking you for more original music?
Yeah, once I started getting told that I was going to be flying to New York to meet with, these labels, I decided I can't go to New York with just one song. So I sat down and I wrote some more songs, which would later become my EP, but I didn't know it was going to be my EP at the time. I wrote Two Poor Kids, Golden, Superficial Love. So I had about 5 songs to take everywhere with me so I could play them for people. But I don't know, I didn't really feel pressure because for some reason they all came out of me really easily.
And you hadn't really been, I mean, you say, I didn't really know what a record deal was, so you hadn't really been planning a career in music.
No, I mean, I had always hoped that it would happen. I just didn't know how, because I'm from Edmonton, and it's not like music is a big thing there. And so I just didn't know how I was going to do it, how I was going to get my voice out there, but I hoped it would always happen. But yeah, it was the timing was crazy. It just, yeah.
So you were hoping it was happening. What if it didn't happen? What would have happened? Were you going to go to college? What was on the horizon if it hadn't been a record contract?
Yeah, I was doing my first year of university actually back home. I was in the arts program, planning on majoring in political science, so I'm sure I would have been in my second year doing that.
You were going to be a lawyer, weren't you?
That was the plan. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
This is better.
Just a little.
So you write those 4 songs, and you basically you produced your record yourself, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's just I played the piano on it. I wrote it. Oh, okay.
And now you've been writing more songs. You're looking towards making a full album.
Yes.
Is the idea that you have in mind doing a whole album of solo piano, or are you thinking of a band kind of sound, or what approach are you taking?
I think the one similarity that I really want all my music to have with the EP is the focus on lyrics and the importance of stories and the music in itself. But I think I'm really excited to expand further and test new instruments out. I kind of feel like a kid who's now in a candy shop, because all my life all I've had is a piano, but now, I mean, I have tools and like other instruments that I can test out. So I think I want to keep it honest and real music, but I'm definitely excited to, get into production and see what my sound is going to be.
And when you say you have other instruments you can test out, are you playing other instruments? Are you working with other people? What's been happening?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in the works of, working with a producer and getting into a studio and testing stuff out. I'm writing all my music, which is super important to me. But yeah, I'm excited to see what the future holds in terms of what my sound is going to be.
I mean, that's unusual in and of itself, and terrific. I'm really glad to hear it. It's not uncommon for a label to say, "Great, we love you. We love this song. Here are 5 people we'd like you to meet who've written a lot of other songs."
Right. Yeah.
Did you have those discussions, or going in, was it clear that you wanted to write your songs? That was how it was going to be.
Yeah, I think I made it clear from the beginning that that's how I wanted it to be, especially for this first album. I want to be able to tell my kids and my grandkids in like 10, 20 years that this is exactly how I felt at 20 years old, my unfiltered thoughts all to myself. So that's important to me.
Okay. Live performance. So just like the record deal came sort of, boom, out of nowhere, you hadn't really done a lot of live performance before just recently, am I correct?
Yes, correct.
So you weren't somebody, you weren't in the school musicals or performing around town growing up, or?
No, I did one talent show in high school, but other than that,
It's just that easy, kids. One talent show.
yeah. Other than that, it was more of a thing that I did just around the house. Music was always kind of my own thing.
What'd you do in the talent show?
I sang like, me and my best friend, we sang a J. Cole song. I played the piano. We switched it up, and we did one of J. Cole's first songs. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, what's it been like taking these songs to the stage?
It's amazing. It's so cool at first, and it still can be really scary because I feel like for a time I got really comfortable with just having a phone screen in front of me and not actually, there's millions of people following me, but I don't see those faces, so I got comfortable. But
I mean, a lot of the vines that I've seen are, you're filming yourself singing, or you've got the camera set up so you can see the keyboard and see you playing.
Yeah.
And we can all see that, and you're getting feedback from those people.
Right.
But it is a little different when, first, it's longer than 6 seconds.
Yeah. Definitely.
And then also, they're in the room with you.
Yeah.
There's not a chance to do it again if it goes wrong.
Exactly, yeah. But I think that's the best part. I love watching people react to my lyrics in real time and seeing someone like understand a certain song right there, and you watch them like getting it. I don't think there's any better feeling.
Well, let's talk about the other songs that you wrote. So the first song came from that experience of binge watching and putting it together slowly, and then sitting down and you put the whole song together.
Yeah.
How did you approach the other 3 songs on your EP?
The other 3 songs I kind of just wrote from memories. Anything that I had seen or been through, I kind of just went right back to that spot and wrote how I felt about it.
So the first song on the EP is pretty specific, paints a pretty specific scene, right?
Right.
That's
Golden. Two Poor Kids, yes.
2 Poor Kids,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
okay.
Yeah, that one was a bus ride home from school one day. I remember I was taking the bus home from school, and these 2 kids got on, and they didn't look like they had much. In fact, the girl wasn't wearing shoes, and everyone was kind of staring at them. They sat right across from me, and everyone was staring at them and kind of talking, but what really caught my attention and inspired me was how oblivious the 2 kids were to us. Like, they just didn't care what we thought. They didn't really care about anything except each other in that moment. And to me, I don't know, I remember thinking, this was before I had written a song, so I remember looking at them and saying, someone should make a movie about these kids. Like, they're so cool. And later on, I wrote a song about them. But yeah. I
mean, the song is all about that moment where it's really just the 2 of them and not caring or noticing anyone noticing them, right? Mm-hmm. So that's really interesting. Were you someone who, did you journal? Would you write down things when you saw them that way, or?
Yeah, journal, but I have a really good memory. I hold on to things
Okay.
a lot, and so.
So when
yeah.
you say you were working from memory, you really were. You weren't
Yeah.
sitting down and going through
Yeah.
poems or stories you'd written. You
Exactly.
were really just sitting
Yeah.
and
Pretty much.
working out of your own head.
Yeah. Exactly.
Wow. And the other two songs?
The other two songs, there's Golden and Superficial Love. I think Golden, I always say, if I could go back in time to 15-year-old Ruth and give her some advice, I would literally just play that song for myself. And that's what I always say about that one. And then Superficial Love was more just me telling myself not to ever settle for less, whether that's friendships, relationships, just always look for something real.
Everybody asks you about Vine and about doing things in 6 seconds. And did you think about it that way? I mean, were you a Vine user and you just thought it was natural to sort of share your own vision or your own music you were making that way? Or
Yeah, no, I just kind of happened where I one day accidentally sang on there and I posted it prior to
wait,
me.
accidentally?
Yeah, like I was at my cousin's house and I was singing a Drake song and I happened to record it and my brother, he ended up singing in the background and he's not a very good singer, so it sounded very funny. And he was like, "Don't you dare post this," but I posted it anyways.
I see.
And that day I went from 50 followers, which were all my school friends, to about 1,000, and all of them were saying, "Hey, you should keep singing on here, see what happens." And at the time it was actually a very bizarre thought. How do you capture a song in 6 seconds?
Right.
But I think with time I just got used to it, and actually credit Vine to making me a little bit more creative, just because you only have 6 seconds to grab someone's attention. So you really just want to be as original as possible. And now I feel like that has affected my songwriting in the fact that I want every line to have meaning and I want every word to impact.
Because when you're picking the portion of the song to share, you really have to hone in on the part that's recognizable to both you and anybody else in 6 seconds, and then the best part.
Exactly, yes.
So it's not just the hook, it's the best part of the hook, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and you know, some of your vines are more just things you or your family were doing, but you again, you have to be really selective about how to tell those little stories.
Exactly, yeah. I think, I just always tried to put my stamp on it, and I wanted people to know when they were scrolling through their feed when they heard a Ruth B Vine.
Are there any Viners that when you're scrolling through your feed, that you fixate on?
I love a lot of like low-key Vine. I love finding like Vine singers because once upon a time that was me, and I love sharing other people's content. I have a few friends on there. There's M. Harris, people like Weston Wilson. They're just a bunch of Vine singers that I think are so great as well, and killing it.
Cool. We've got time for some questions from the audience. Looks like we've got one right here in front.
Hey, Ruth.
Good. How are you?
Yeah. Where were you when you first heard your song "Lost Boy" on the radio, and what was your reaction?
I was in Sacramento. I was driving through Sacramento, and I remember hearing the radio voice, and they were like, "And now, Ruth B." And I just remember completely freaking out. It was totally insane to hear my song right after a Justin Bieber song. It was an insane moment that I will never forget.
And totally Canadian.
Totally Canadian. Yep. Oh, yeah.
Hey, Ruth.
Hey.
I like your songs and everything, by the way. I love your sound, too.
Thank you.
But I was wondering if you had, like, anything that you did before you recorded, or, like, you know, like Kendrick Lamar, he likes to eat Fruity Pebbles before he records. Like, do you have anything that you like to do before?
Well, it's not... I like to be in sweatpants when I record. I don't know. I like to be super comfy, even if it's just PJs or something. I just like to be really relaxed, even when I'm writing, just, you know, in my natural state. Sweatpants.
Okay. Unencumbered by the burden of jeans.
Yeah. I like some jeans too.
Hi, thanks for being here. Your voice is beautiful.
Thank you.
In the future, if you could collaborate with any artist, who would it be?
I would love to collaborate with Stevie Wonder. I know that's a big dream, but I think even if I could just watch him do his thing, like in a studio, watch him play the piano, write, that would be a lifetime goal fulfilled right there.
Hello.
Hi.
So since you're a new up-and-coming artist, I feel like all new artists always have this one thing about them that they want to make their signature. So what do you think your signature is, whether it's your fashion or your style or your music?
Wow. I think my signature, I just want people to know, I guess, just that I'm really passionate about this, and that's the only reason that I do it. I want to inspire people to be passionate and to follow their passions at whatever level, even if you're just in your basement writing songs. It can take you somewhere, so yeah.
All right, and on that inspirational note, we're going to leave it there. Follow your passion.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you.